Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for January the 3rd, 2022, the first Raw recap of the new year. Shout out to everybody in the chat room for tuning in tonight. I appreciate your viewership and support. This episode of Raw now on the road to the 2022 Royal Rumble pay-per-view, or excuse me, premium live event. We kicked off the show with a recap from WWE Day 1. The lights went out. When they came back on, it was not The Undertaker, but rather Paul Heyman. And he was there to introduce his client, the reigning and defending WWE champion, Brock Lesnar. Lesnar came to the ring, threw the steel steps into the ring, stood on the steps like it was a podium, and he gave a shout out to the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. He said that Reigns is at home watching the real world champion. He did wish Roman well, said get well soon, and then he said, South Carolina, acknowledge me. And there was, in fact, an acknowledge Brock sign in the crowd. Paul Heyman got on the mic, ran down the opponents that Brock Lesnar defeated at Day 1, and it was announced that we would be having the main event match be what was originally intended for Day 1, the Fatal 4-Way match minus Brock Lesnar, with the winner going on to the Royal Rumble to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. Heyman made a joke about how he left Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns got COVID. Roman Reigns is weak now. Paul Heyman said that maybe Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch should go over to SmackDown because if Seth Rollins doesn't beat Brock Lesnar, his wife is going to leave him. And Heyman continued to run down the opponents, brought up Bobby Lashley, said Bobby Lashley is a worthy challenger. However, at the pay-per-view, while Lashley did get the upper hand on Brock Lesnar at times, in fact, every time they were interacting, they were shots from behind. And Heyman said it would be a different thing one-on-one, and it would end up being Bobby Lashley as the almighty Brock Lesnar wannabe. Heyman had nothing bad to say about Biggie, said Biggie is a credit to World Wrestling Entertainment. But Biggie would end up losing. However, Heyman said it would be an honor to witness Brock Lesnar versus Big E. And this was a solid opening segment to set up the main event. I did like it. Mr. Anderson sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I hope Paul Heyman screws Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. I do not think that's going to happen this soon. But I am curious to see what happens next with Roman Reigns. And we'll get to that at the very end because there was more talk about Roman Reigns. We will get to that in just a little bit. Daniel sent in a $6 super chat. Thank you for that, Daniel. I appreciate it. He says, giving my Monday Night Raw grade early, C-. Ouch. He did not care too much for Monday Night Raw, but thank you very much for that, Daniel. I appreciate the super chats, everyone. Now, let's get to our opening segment, which was RK-Bro versus the Alpha Academy. Before the match, Riddle approached Orton backstage. He was wearing bling left over from day one when they were hanging out with that rap group, the greatest rap group of all time, Migos. And Riddle started making some Eminem jokes, said that he has a fish named Swim Shady. Randy Orton said everybody knows their name is RK-Bro. And you had Riddle referencing my name is. He was doing the what? And Randy Orton was very unamused by all of this. Anyways, Alpha Academy came down to the ring, had a little pre-match promo, said that RK-Bro's title reign is about to come to an end. And we had our match. Alpha Academy attacked RK-Bro before the bell even rang. They worked over Riddle. Otis sent him into the post. Riddle was trying to fight back. Gable pulled Orton off the apron, so there was no hot tag. Otis bum rushed Orton, and then Riddle went for the RKO, but Otis prevented him from doing it and slammed him down with a power slam. Picked up the 1-2-3 victory. There you go. Another match where the champions lose to establish new contenders. It's the only way WWE can set up new challengers, is to have them beat the champions in a non-title match. Whatever. Dr. NXT Scorpio sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. He says, I kind of feel bad for Seth Rollins. Still did not get what he deserved. Title shot that he earned. I think creative forgot, or they think we forgot, LOL. Yeah, well, Seth Rollins should have demanded the title shot right away. You snooze, you lose, as they say. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. He says, would love to see Riddle get serious, but RKO stay together. Randy has done it all as a singles. Let them be a badass team with a long reign, something different. I'm not sure if they're going to do that, but I would like to see a more serious side of Matt Riddle. I still want to see him go heel and turn against Randy Orton, but we'll see if they milk this tag team for a bit longer. Maybe they go serious for a little bit and then Riddle turns against him. Either way, I would like to see Riddle scale it back a little bit with the comedy. I know Vince probably loves it, but I think Riddle would have more longevity when we get to see his serious side. And we know he can do the comedy, but let's see him be a killer Riddle. To me, that is what I think would help him go to the next level and possibly compete for the world title and be a top-tier guy that some people think he can be. And Darren says, how long do you see Alpha Academy sticking around? Well, I think it keeps both of them on television, so I would hope for a while for their sake, but you never know. They might get tired of the act. I mean, what else can you do with Otis at this point? You already had him. You tried to have him as a singles competitor, and that did not work out so well. At least they got something going for themselves right now as a tag team. We had a video package for AJ Styles versus Omas, setting up their match. This was a good video package, and Omas took his hand and shoved it in the interviewer's face, which kind of felt like a throwback to what Andre the Giant did to Bob Barker back in the day. Or not Bob Barker. Man, I'm blanking out here. What was his name from back in the day? WrestleMania 4. Bob Uecker? Yeah, I think it was Bob Uecker. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Man, that's way back. That's like 30 years ago. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, would Biggie had a better run if he was a heel? Probably not. Biggie is a very likable guy, and I think it would be difficult to get fans to boo for him. I just think that Big E is naturally a babyface. People like the guy. And yes, it was Bob Uecker. So my apologies for saying Bob Barker. I botched that one, as Noah Foster would say, botch. We had Tamina and Tozawa against Dana Brooke and Reggie in the mandatory 24/7 title segment of the evening. Not much to say about it. Tozawa booted Tamina by mistake, and then she slapped him. Reggie took advantage, did this thing where he sat on him. They called it the whoopee cushion, and that's it. Reggie picked up the win. I did not care about this match. I had little to no interest in this match. Becky Lynch came down to the ring, cut a promo about the new year, how all the women have these resolutions about winning the title. Becky said she has become a work of art. And she said that she is Vincent Van Gogh. She said nobody is going to realize their resolutions. Liv Morgan came down to the ring. She's got new music. And she said that Becky knows, everybody knows how close Liv came to winning the title. Becky said, yeah, Liv might win the title one day when Becky retires. Then we had Bianca Belair arrive. She said she took a little dewdrop detour, but now she's back in line for big time Bex. Liv said Bianca should go to the back. Bianca said that her and Becky have a score to settle. Becky said that both of them should leave the ring and settle their thing, and she'll be waiting. They ended up throwing her out of the ring. Liv and Bianca had a face-off. They started fighting. Becky came in with a sneak attack and then laid out Bianca Belair with the manhandle slam. Segment was okay, I guess. I'm not really feeling either of them at this point. I know Bianca has built up a lot of momentum, but just not really feeling any of these potential matches. Backstage, we had Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins talking, and Owens said they need to stick to the plan, which is that it doesn't matter who wins. If one of them wins, they work together. One of them wins, goes on to the Rumble, beats Brock Lesnar, and then the other person would get the opportunity and they would fight each other at WrestleMania for the title. Seth Rollins loved the idea, walked off, and then Owens was wondering if Seth Rollins was, in fact, lying. We had Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley against Carmella and Zelena Vega. Queen Zelena, I should say. Zelena slapped Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley beat the crap out of her and then tagged in Nikki, and Nikki blew it. Zelena Vega, without even tagging in Carmella, Zelena Vega rolled up Nikki and scored the 1-2-3 victory. So I guess we get the storyline advancing with Nikki and Rhea Ripley possibly breaking up, and hopefully it's Nikki that goes heel and changes up her character and goes crazy or something. Because if Rhea Ripley goes heel and Nikki stays as the superhero, that's going to be pretty lame. And I'm on record saying that. We had the Mysterios backstage. They have officially entered the Royal Rumble. And speaking of people entering the Royal Rumble, we also had the Street Profits announce that they will be in the Royal Rumble. They were in a tag team match against Apollo Crews and General Aziz. Pretty basic match here. Aziz did dominate for a while, but then Dawkins sent Aziz to the ring post on the outside. Street Profits finished off Apollo in the ring. Ford hit the big frog splash, and that was that. So basically, Street Profits rebounding from their loss at day one. That's basically what the point of this was. Then we had Doudrop backstage talking to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, wanting to have an opportunity, said that people are sick of the same 2 or 3 women getting title opportunities. Realest thing said on this show, quite frankly. And she wants her first chance. But Sonya said that people do not get handed title opportunities, unless you're Brock Lesnar, of course. Sonya pitched a triple threat match between Doudrop, Bianca Belair, and Liv Morgan. And that will take place on next week's Raw. And the winner will face Becky Lynch at the Royal Rumble for the Raw Women's Championship. Has to be Bianca, right? I mean, I can't imagine Becky versus Doudrop. And are they really going to do Liv a third time? I'm thinking it has to be Bianca at the Rumble. And Dr. NXT Scorpio said, a heel speaking the truth, LOL. We had Damien Priest come into the ring for a United States Championship match against Dolph Record Scratch Ziggler. Wait, that was 2 years ago, but I'm still haunted by that record scratch. Before the match, Priest talked about how there's no champion's advantage in this match. Basically, if Priest went crazy and turned into Damien, he would be stripped of the title, and I guess Dolph Ziggler would become the new champion. So Priest could not get DQ'd or counted out. And of course, the story in this match was Dolph Ziggler trying to do everything possible to get Priest disqualified. He tried to slap Priest around, trash talked him. Priest did start punching Ziggler in the corner, and he did manage to stop at the count of 4. He avoided the DQ. And then Robert Roode interfered when the referee wasn't looking. Priest got angry. He went after Roode on the outside of the ring. He grabbed the chair. He was almost counted out, but he got back in the ring with the chair. Ziggler dared him to use the chair, but instead, Priest threw the chair at Robert Roode. Ziggler hit the zigzag. However, Priest was able to kick out of that, and then Priest finished off Ziggler with the Reckoning. I did like this match. I thought it was well done with the stipulation and the teases that Priest might lose the title. And the crowd did buy into the zigzag finisher attempt. But I never thought Ziggler was going to win the title. But I did think it was a good match overall. Darren says that Priest is now a total snooze. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to do like the Ken Shamrock gimmick with him. Back in the day, Ken Shamrock would snap, and sometimes he would lose his composure. And I feel that that's what they're trying to do here with Damien Priest. We had Austin Theory meeting with Vince McMahon. Yes, they're still doing the Austin Vince storyline. Vince looking old as hell. Like, he looks like a wax figure at this point. And Vince was mad because Austin Theory came in apologizing. And Vince said, don't apologize. Rule number 1, do not apologize. Maybe Tony Khan is taking some advice from Vince. Austin Theory talked about wanting to have a match with Finn Balor again, but Vince had another idea. Vince said that Austin Theory is officially in the 2022 Royal Rumble match. And we'll see what happens. We'll see if Austin Theory can make a splash. My guess is he will not be winning the Royal Rumble, and then he'll be doing another backstage segment with Vince. Vince just needs to be off TV. The dude is looking really old at this point. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate it. He says, Don't see a clear Rumble winner. Are there even 30 legitimate women? They need to get pushing the women. I don't see a clear winner at all. Nobody has momentum. Very solid point there, Walter. Unless we're getting a surprise entrant that ends up winning it, whether it's somebody like a Trish Stratus, Lita, maybe. I don't think it's going to be either of them. But what about Ronda Rousey? I could still see that as a possibility. Ronda Rousey makes her return. She did give birth a couple months ago, but she's Ronda Rousey. And if anybody could come back from that pretty quickly, it would be her. And I think they need it. They need Ronda back, and you can do Ronda versus Becky one-on-one at WrestleMania. You need something big for night one. Keep in mind, we got 2 nights of WrestleMania. So you need 2 big main events. And I could see Ronda Rousey be in the night 1 main event. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, night 2. There you go. You're set. Although Ma W doesn't think Ronda Rousey is coming back. Well, to me, there's money on the table there with that one-on-one match that we never got. Matt thinks a babyface Ronda versus a heel Becky would be bad. Well, there you go. I mean, maybe they could turn Becky before that, but I think Ronda would be cheered coming back. I think they could maybe pull it off. Dr. NXT Scorpio with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it very much. Says we need subtitles for the Vince segments. LOL. Yeah, we really do at this point. He just keeps mumbling through every one of these segments. By the way, shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook or Twitter. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, head over to youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. That's how you can join the chat room, post your comments, and I will display some of them here on the screen. And make sure you guys give the video a like on YouTube and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Tell a friend, spread the word. Alexa Bliss is coming back. They did a little announcement saying that next week we will get the start of Alexa's return, whatever that means. But yeah, Alexa Bliss is coming back. And I'm a little surprised that they did not announce or keep Alexa's announcement until the Royal Rumble, or not announce anything. Just have Alexa Bliss show up as an entrant in the Royal Rumble for the surprise. But they're doing it in advance now, and we'll see what they do with her. Awesome JL94 left a very generous $20 super chat. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for that. He says, hey, Aaron, been a while since the last time I watched Raw live. The reason was Brock Lesnar as WWE champion. Show was good except for the 24-hour segment, the 24/7 title segment, and the women's tag team. Always been supporting No DQ. Keep up the great work. Well, I appreciate you tuning in, Awesome JL94, and hope to see you around for more streams. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho. He says, can WWE bring back superstars that they just fired during their 90-day non-compete, or do they have to wait until the 90 days and give them new contracts? I feel like WWE could bring them back at any time and reinstate their contract if they wanted to, but I do not know the legalities of all that. But I would think if WWE wanted, say, Keith Lee back, well, Keith Lee would be back. I think that they could definitely make that happen from a legal standpoint. Let's move on here. We had the Miz and Maurice come into the ring to talk about Miz's match with Edge at the Day 1 pay-per-view, and he was outraged, as you might expect. Said he's a 2-time Grand Slam champion. Edge is only 1-time Grand Slam champion. Miz said that Edge deserved to lose. I found it funny that there was a sign in the crowd that said, get on with it. I was kind of feeling that sign during this show. Edge said that, or not Edge, Miz said that Edge was hiding behind his wife, which the crowd called BS on. And then Maurice said that if Beth Phoenix was there, she would punch her right in the face. And pretty much right on cue, we had Beth Phoenix arrive with her husband, Edge. Beth got on the mic and said it was all her idea to be there at day one. Edge had nothing to do with it. Edge said that he had an idea. His idea was at the Royal Rumble, they do a mixed tag team match. The It couple, Miz and Maurice, against the Grit couple, Edge and Beth Phoenix. Crowd was doing the yes chants. I guess they forgot that Mr. Danielson is wrestling elsewhere now, but they did it anyways, maybe force of habit. And Miz accepted the match, although Maurice was not happy that Miz accepted the match. And then Beth acted like she was going to throw a punch, and Maurice flinched, fell down to the ground in embarrassment. And that was our segment to set up the mixed tag at the Rumble. Good segment here, although, like I said earlier, I agree with that sign. I think maybe it was dragging a little bit, but I did like the setup, and Beth Phoenix has a great look right now. She looks like a badass, and I am looking forward to the match at the Rumble. I just hope Edge gets to be in the Rumble match itself and gets to compete for an opportunity at the WWE title. I hope he pulls double duty, like I said during the day one recap. We had Biggie interviewed backstage for the main event match, and he said that being champion meant something to him and it meant something to the people. He said that he's gonna keep moving forward. The next chapter will be the best chapter, and he said he'll be damned if a soul on earth can stop him. This was a really good promo from Biggie. I liked his fire and his passion. He was taking himself seriously. Good stuff here from him. Then we had AJ Styles versus Omas, the one-on-one match we were supposed to have the other week. And Styles attempted to stick and move. He rolled out to the outside of the ring, told Omas to come after him. Omas did. And as soon as Omas started going over the top rope, AJ went after the knee. But Omas quickly recovered from that, caught Styles with a big boot. Styles managed to get a little bit of offense. Styles went for the phenomenal forearm, but then got caught with the chop in midair. And then it was pretty much academic for Omas. He hit the big tree slam, the 1031. At least that's what I would call it. And he picked up the victory over a not-so-game AJ Styles. Glorified squash match here. I mean, it was basically to put over Omas as a monster. Pretty much exactly what you would expect from this match. And Dr. NXT Scorpio said, I skipped this match. Matt says Omas is just another Khali. Ouch. And Darren says Omas reminds me of Giant Gonzalez. Also an ouch. We had our main event, the number one contender match for the WWE Championship. We had Lashley versus Biggie versus Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens. And they got a good amount of time for this. Match started with about a half hour of Raw to go. Lashley took out Rollins right away, and then Biggie and Lashley went at it for a while. Lashley went for a spear on the outside like what he did to Lesnar at the pay-per-view, but Owens was pulled to safety by Rollins, and Lashley crashed through the barricade, crashed and burned. Owens and Rollins double-teamed Big E, and they did the shield bomb, putting Big E through the table. After the commercial break, you had Big E and Lashley recovering. Everybody started brawling. Lashley and Big E decided to work together since Rollins and Owens were working together. And thus, Rollins and Owens decided to try and run away. They went into the crowd. Everyone was fighting in the crowd, and then into the concession area. A little surprising. I mean, it was fun TV, but I'm very surprised after Roman Reigns tested positive for COVID and several people, Rollins included, tested positive, that they would have these guys fighting out in the crowd with a bunch of people not wearing masks, but whatever. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, WWE turning a negative into a positive. They are actually giving us the dream match. I'm happy. Hard to call, though. Will Lesnar really put over Lashley? I don't know. Well, that's regarding the Rumble. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. Willie G says, perhaps Gable Steveson in the Rumble? Yeah, possible. I would not rule it out. Lights said Rollins and Owens could easily be a future tag team. So they brawled in the concession area. Owens got slammed through a table, and then they fought by the entranceway to the arena, and there's a little balcony above the walkway. Owens was on the top of the walkway and did a big dive onto everybody. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." They went back into the ring, and Owens hit a frog splash, or a swanton, I should say. Rollins hit a frog splash. Biggie kicked out of it. Owens made no attempt to break up the pin, by the way, so he was totally fine. He was trusting that Rollins would win the match and then give Owens a title opportunity. Owens hit a pop-up powerbomb. Lashley broke it up, and then Lashley hit the spear on Owens to score the 1-2-3 victory. So yes, it is official. First time ever one-on-one. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble for the WWE title. We're finally getting the match that everybody's been wanting to see. I know Lashley has been wanting it. We're finally getting it. The question is, though, going back to what Walter Cruz said, will Lesnar put over Lashley? Will that actually happen? Are they going to do champion versus champion at WrestleMania? But what happens for the Royal Rumble winner? A lot of questions here as to what's going to happen. I'd like to see Lesnar put over Lashley clean and give Lashley a huge win. Lesnar can take a loss. Not going to kill him. Maybe Lesnar loses and then Lesnar enters the Royal Rumble and wins it and then gets his guaranteed shot at Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, even though he's technically owed a shot already. But they could do that. There's a few things they could do. But I'm still going to say that Lesnar beats him. But we'll talk more about that in a couple weeks when we get to the predictions video. Plenty of time to see how things play out over the next few weeks. Mr. Anderson sent in a $2 super chat, says, what does WWE do now with Omas since he beat AJ? I could see Omas going into the Rumble and it be one of those scenarios where 20 guys have to eliminate him and that keeps Omas strong. Other than that, not really sure what you do with the guy. Maybe have him win some squash matches. I don't know. Walter says he recommends the main event. Rest of it you can miss. Well, yeah, you might be right on that. The final little segment here, Brock Lesnar was backstage watching on the monitor correctly like normal human beings, by the way. I guess Brock Lesnar, they probably, I could imagine it, like backstage, they're approaching Brock Lesnar. They're saying, hey, can you turn to the side a little bit when you're looking at the monitor? And Brock Lesnar gives him a look and he's like, go fuck yourself. Anyways, Brock was interviewed and he said he will see Roman Reigns on Friday for SmackDown. Interesting. Roman Reigns tests positive for COVID and they're teasing that Roman Reigns will be on SmackDown unless it's going to be like via satellite or something. I guess we'll see. Surely Reigns ain't going to be cleared by Friday. I know they're doing the whole 5-day thing, but that seems awfully strange to me that he would be cleared that quickly. But yeah, I guess Brock Lesnar will be on SmackDown this Friday. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, Omas is just a modern-day Ahmed Johnson. Oh, come on now. Ahmed Johnson could actually do some stuff in the ring before he got injured too many times, and then he was like Omas. But Early Ahmed Johnson, he could do a few things. He was a little athletic. And Omas can do the big man role okay. He's not great or anything, but he can stand around and look menacing and throw guys around a little bit. As far as my thoughts on the show, it was a good Raw. It was a good Raw by modern day standards. Main event was awesome. Main event felt like what they would have done at the pay-per-view. Felt like a pay-per-view quality match. Definitely the main event is worth checking out. Show overall had some good moments, had some bad moments. The Lesnar stuff was pretty entertaining. And I like the mixed tag team match build-up. Overall, I would recommend Raw, which I don't very often. But it was a good Raw. It was worth checking out for the most part. Few things here and there you could probably skip over, but definitely check out the main event, the Brock Lesnar stuff, and the Miz's segment with Edge, Maurice, Beth Phoenix was good. It was a better than average Raw for sure. Walter Cruz says all these budget cuts are going to Lesnar's pocket for all those extra appearances. Well, Lesnar was also not around for the pandemic until they went back to doing live crowds. So I guess they have some money freed up that they can use from those times that Lesnar would have showed up, but didn't. But this guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat, says, I will email you tomorrow for the video. Will Ted Jr. ever return? Highly unlikely in all likelihood. I do not think we will be seeing Ted DiBiase Jr. in WWE. Will he wrestle again? He might. I could see him doing an indie show here or there, but I do not think we will see him back in WWE. I mean, anything's possible, but I'm thinking the odds are against it. Mark Del Rio says the show was a B+. The main event was excellent. Anyways, guys, I'm wrapping this thing up. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. Again, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and tell a friend. Spread the word. I will be doing a recap of NXT New Year's Evil. So I will be back here Tuesday night right after NXT. We got AEW Dynamite's debut on TBS. No DQ review on Thursday. And we're back on Friday nights. SmackDown will be live on Friday. Brock Lesnar will apparently be there. Will Roman Reigns show up via satellite? I don't know, but they're teasing that Lesnar and Reigns will have some kind of confrontation. So this week we got a lot of live streaming coming up. And then Saturday, we got the AEW Battle of the Belts, and that will be live. I'll be recapping that as well. A lot of live streaming coming up next several days. So stay tuned for all that. Take care, everybody, and I will see you all next time.